It all began on a quiet summer morning in Los Angeles, 2025. The sun was just rising over the city, casting gold light through the glass towers. Backstage at the America's Got Talent studio, two young singers from the Philippines, siblings, actually, were nervously preparing for what they knew could be the biggest moment of their lives. Their names, Lee and Marco Dela Cruz. They weren't celebrities back home. They didn't come from a famous family or have industry connections. What they had was something far more powerful: faith, love, and a shared dream. Lee was 25, a soft-spoken music teacher from Cebu who spent her days teaching children how to sing church hymns. Marco, her younger brother by 3 years, was a working student who performed at weddings on weekends just to help support their family. Their father had passed away a few years earlier, and their mother, a quiet woman with a radiant smile, had always told them, "When you sing, let it be your prayer. Let every note be your thank you to God." And that was what they carried with them as they stepped onto that massive AGT stage. The lights, the cameras, the crowd, it was overwhelming. Lee's hand was shaking as she held Marco's arm, and he whispered softly, "8, just like home. Close your eyes, just like we practiced." The host introduced them simply. "From the Philippines, here's Lee and Marco." As they walked to the center, Simon Cowell gave them a curious look. He'd seen hundreds of acts, singers, dancers, illusionists, but something about their presence was different. Humble, grounded, almost fragile, he asked, "So, what are your names, and what brings you here?" Lee smiled nervously. "We're siblings from the Philippines. We grew up singing together in church. We just want to share something that means a lot to us." "What song are you going to sing for us today?" Marco answered softly, "It's called, The Prayer." And the moment Simon heard that, he raised an eyebrow. "That's a tough one," he said. "Celine Dion and Andrea Bocelli, that's not an easy song to touch." Lee nodded. "We know, but it's our father's favorite song. He used to tell us it's not just a song, it's a promise." The crowd grew silent. And then, as the music began, something extraordinary happened. The first notes floated through the hall, gentle, trembling, and pure. Lee began softly, her voice delicate but steady, filling the space with warmth. When Marco joined her, the harmony was almost celestial. Their voices intertwined, weaving through the melody like a single soul split in two. The audience leaned forward. The judges were motionless. Even Simon, known for his poker face, was staring, his expression slowly softening. As the chorus swelled, "Lead us to a place, guide us with your grace," you could feel the air in the room shift. People weren't just listening anymore. They were feeling. Lee's voice cracked slightly near the bridge, not from weakness but emotion. Tears welled in her eyes. You could almost hear her father's memory in every breath she took. Marco reached out mid-song, held her hand, and they sang together with a kind of unfiltered honesty that silenced every whisper in the crowd. And when they hit that final note, strong, golden, soaring, the world seemed to stop for a heartbeat. Then, thunderous applause erupted. The audience rose in a standing ovation. Some were crying, others just smiling through their tears. Lee and Marco stood there, stunned. They'd done it. Simon Cowell, still seated, took a deep breath. His eyes glistened. For a moment, he didn't speak. Then he said softly, "That was beautiful." He paused again, visibly emotional. "I don't cry easily, but that was perfect. You didn't just sing. You prayed. You made us all feel it." The crowd roared again. Sofia Vergara wiped a tear, saying, "It was like an angel duet." Heidi Klum added, "Your voices were so pure, I felt every word." Howie Mandel, smiling, said, "Sometimes, the world just needs a reminder of what love sounds like. And that's what you did tonight." Then came the moment. Simon pressed the golden buzzer. Golden confetti burst through the air. Lee gasped and covered her mouth as Marco wrapped his arms around her. They were crying, laughing, overwhelmed. The crowd chanted their names. Their mother, watching from the audience, was sobbing uncontrollably. Her children had made it. That performance went viral overnight. Within 24 hours, the clip had over 60 million views across social media. It was shared not just for the singing, but for the sincerity. People around the world were commenting, I don't even understand English completely, but this made me cry. The world was captivated. News outlets called them the prayer duo. They were invited to morning shows, interviews, and even back to the Philippines where crowds welcomed them at the airport like heroes. But the story didn't end there. Weeks later, in the semifinals, they performed again, a stripped-down acoustic rendition of You Raise Me Up. But before singing, Lee said something that melted hearts once more. She said, "When our father was sick, we couldn't afford his hospital bills. We used to sing outside to raise money. Every song we sang was for him. Every song still is." That night, their performance once again earned standing ovations. Simon said, "You two are a reminder of why we do this show. Sometimes, talent isn't about power or perfection. It's about truth. And you two have that." As the finale approached, Lee and Marco didn't expect to win. They said repeatedly that being on that stage was already a miracle. But during the finals, they performed an original song, one they wrote together titled, Our Father's Prayer. It blended English and Tagalog, a tribute to their late father, and a message to anyone who's lost someone they love. The song began quietly, Marco's guitar, soft and haunting, Lee's voice, trembling with emotion. And as the lyrics unfolded, there was not a dry eye in the theater. Even when you're gone, your love remains. In every note, your voice sustains. Guide us still, through the night and day. Our Father's Prayer, forever we'll say. By the time they reached the last line, Simon Cowell was seen wiping tears from his eyes. And when they finished, the audience erupted once again, louder than ever. Simon stood up. He walked to the stage, microphone in hand, and said words that would echo across social media for weeks. "I have judged this show for many years. I've heard thousands of singers. But what you did tonight, that was more than music. That was love made into sound. And I'll never forget it." The judges all hugged them. The moment was pure, heartfelt, human. And though they didn't win the entire competition, they came second. Their legacy outshined any trophy. They went on to perform at charity concerts, at the United Nations, even at benefit events across Asia. Their duet became known as the prayer that touched the world. But the most touching moment came months later, when they returned home to Cebu. They visited their father's grave, carrying with them a small replica of the AGT golden buzzer confetti. Lee placed it gently by his tombstone and whispered, "We did it, Papa." Marco added quietly, "You never left us. You sang with us." And right there, under the warm Philippine sun, the siblings sang once more, not for fame, not for cameras, but as a promise. People passing by stopped to listen. Their song floated across the fields, reaching hearts as it always did. Because when music is pure, when it comes from love and faith, it transcends everything. It doesn't matter where you come from, what language you speak, or who you are. It speaks to the soul. And that's why the world cried with them that night. Because for a few minutes on that AGT stage, we all remembered something, that there is still beauty in sincerity, still power in prayer, and still hope in the sound of two voices believing in love. That's the story of Lee and Marco Dela Cruz, the Filipino duo whose song made Simon Cowell cry, and whose prayer touched the world. If this story moved you, share it with someone who needs hope today. And remember, sometimes, the smallest voices can make the loudest echoes, if they sing from the heart. Thank you for watching, and as always, stay inspired, stay kind, and never stop believing in the power of your own song.